Keep it 100. Episode 4. We rolling. We got the hypest guest. I don't know how God is doing it, but he's hooking us up. We got my man RashadJennings with us. We got Christina again. Manny. We finna do this. We keeping it 100. We're gonna see Rashad lives an awesome life. He's got some stuff that he's been through that he's gonna share with us, and we're excited about this. So we're the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, the New York City chapter. FCA's been rolling for 60 years, all around the country. About 10 years ago, we started really expanding internationally. We really got our footing in New York City. I'm the ministry advancement guy. I've been on staff for 16 years. And I met my man Manny. We used to do some building up, chopping up, politicking in a closet, it seemed like. And he used to bring his staff in, and he was like, "Yo, I'm feeling this FCA," and I was like, "Yo, you should be a dope staff member." And he came on. So Manny, tell us a little bit about you and FCA and all that good stuff.
Yo, thank you, Frank, man. Yo, man, it's been one of the amazingest journeys, man. I think the thing about it is we get a chance to come alongside the coaches and just help them to grow in their walk with the Lord so that they could make an impact in the lives of the athletes that they interact with on a daily basis, man. It's the best thing ever. When you asked me the question, I was so grateful, man. So to be a part of what God is doing through FCA New York City, it's a touchdown for real.
Best job in my life. Come on now. Yes. And so, you know, to widen our reach, you just got to meet the right people. And somebody introduced me to Christina Milano, and she wound up being our first. She was on our board search committee, helping us get board members. At that time, she was working in Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. And we had meetings in there, and I was feeling myself. I was like, yo, we doing this thing. But to get to really meet Christina was a blessing. She has an exciting job. Tell us about your job, Christina.
Thanks, Frank. So my 9 to 5 is a sports marketing agent at one of the top agencies in New York, and I work with athletes and on all of their marketing and business endeavors off the field, off the court. And I also represent sports teams and leagues and help them with some of their marketing partnerships as well. And, you know, that wasn't enough for me. I really, as Frank said, I really wanted to merge my passion for God, passion for kids, and passion for sports together, and stumbled upon FCA and was like, wow, that's just the perfect way to bring together three things I love and feel like it's my calling. And so it's been an honor to be on the board and a part of what Frank and Manny have been building in New York City. And enough about us, though. Rashad, thank you for joining us today. And to give our guests a little bit of a FYI about you, for those who don't know, and shame on them, but for those who don't know, you're an NFL running back who took his moves on the field and turned them off the field to being also a champion, mirror ball winning trophy, Dancing with the Stars alum. Tell us what's up.
It ain't in salsa.
That's salsa moving. And you also, in addition to that, when you're not moving the hips on the field or on the dance floor, you're also doing a lot of writing, which is awesome that you could share your heart with not only adults, but also young kids. I think we'll get to that a little bit later, but thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all having me on. And just so you know, anytime I'm ever doing an interview or something, I keep a blank piece of paper and I jot notes from what people are saying. I think I'm always in the mood and mode of learning. So I'm looking forward to learning from you guys.
Awesome. Well, man, you know, ain't nothing like just putting somebody on the spot right quick, right fast. And so I know, you know, when you break through the line, you know, you looking up at the monitor to see who's chasing you. So I'm going to give you some questions right here on the rapid fire tip. You ready?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Let me get my stuff straight. See what you got.
All right, man, here we go. Boom. Who is your favorite athlete of all time?
Oh, all time. one, man. It's got a bunch, but I'm gonna throw out right now King Griffey Jr.
Oh, King Griffey Jr.
Yeah.
That's, you know, I'm a little old school. I'm on the senior tip. Why Ken Griffey Jr.?
Right, his style, his swag to the game when nobody was doing it, how he carried himself, like, you know, he wasn't on some crazy juice. Like he was just your everyday guy that was out there murdering the sport. I loved it.
The kid, he'll flip that hat backwards. It was
yeah. He was the Deion Sanders of baseball to me.
That's right. That's right. What about your favorite cartoon?
Cartoon. I'm about to go with Daffy Duck. Shit down there. It felt like that on purpose, y'all. But yeah, that's I ride with Daffy Duck, man. He was funny to me.
That's what's up. What about like elevating that to your favorite superhero?
Superhero, that's tough. I've gone through a couple superheroes along the way. But you know who I really like, oddly? I like, it's between Thor and Blank Man. And it's Blank Man because he reminds me of my brother because he's bald head right now. That's why, man. It's odd. But yeah, I'm going to have to ride with those two.
I love it, man. Favorite meal?
Favorite meal, sushi. I'm a sushi guy. If I can pick a restaurant to go to, it's going to be sushi. I'm going to go in there and get some omakase and let the chef go to work. Definitely sushi.
Favorite borough or area in New York City?
That's tough. I mean, I love Manhattan, but I mean, it's just so much culture. I'm going to have to go to the Bronx.
Hey, BX,
Yeah.
that's my hometown. We finally got one.
Shout out to Endevours.
Endevours projects in effect. What about your best sport moment you were involved in?
Couple. Oddly enough, it was one. It's weird how this stands out to me because I was playing in the NFL and I picked up a blitz as a running back. Like I saw the play happen before it happened. It's weird, but that was a big moment. The moment we called a Hail Mary to win the game when I was in Jacksonville, and then the day that my dad came to watch me play when I was in New York. That was just a special day to me.
Powerful. Hidden talent nobody knows about. Don't say dancing because we know about that.
Yeah, let's see. Hidden. I'm pretty open, but I'm good at magic tricks. I don't know if a lot of people know that. Really good with magic tricks. I know a lot of them.
That's what's
And
up.
archery. I'm really good at archery and chess. I could go all day. I got a lot of things I think are hidden.
This is a man of many talents right here. Favorite movie?
Oh, Life. You got Eddie, yeah, Life, man. You got the legends in that one movie. That is hilarious, man. So between him, Martin Lawrence, and, Bernie Mac sliding in there, and Eddie Murphy, yeah, I'm good with Life.
I'm feeling you. Favorite sports team?
Favorite sports team?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm biased. I bleed blue. So the Giants, for sure. So the NFL, the Giants, and Arizona Cardinals are my two favorite teams. The NBA, Dallas Mavericks. I ride with them all day.
Ooh, okay.
That's my squad.
They rolling with Luka right now.
Yeah.
Favorite coach of all time?
Probably Popovich. I think he's the greatest coach of all time. I mean, hands down. From what he's been able to do with his organization, with all the players that he's had, he stayed consistent. He built his team inside out. He didn't go try to stack. Like, I got a lot of respect for Pop.
Good. Favorite Bible character aside from Jesus?
Aside from Jesus himself? That's tough right there. I mean, Job is an interesting guy to me. I'll go with Job. I think a lot of people probably say David but I like Job. I like what he was doing, how he held it down.
Yo, you mixing it up lovely, let me tell you. Favorite quote?
All right, so it's longer, but it's actually something I live by. It's not a quote that I saw and I actually necessarily live by. It's a quote that is written in such a way that I want to live my life, that if somebody was watching me, it would inspire them to write these words. And it's the master in art of living shows little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his love and his religion. He simply pursues everything he does with excellence, leaving others to decide, is he working or is he playing? But to him, he's always doing both. Sit right there.
Come on, bro. Shoot. We out. We should just shut it down right now. Rewind that. You got your computer, rewind that. Write it down, son. I'm about to translate that thing in Spanish in a minute. Talk about, look what I came up with. Go ahead, man.
So how do we keep going from that, bro? That's a bomb for real. Hey, man, so we're going to slow it down a little bit. Out of all sports, why football?
It's a good question. So for myself, man, growing up, I got two older brothers. They're 10 and 14 years older than me. I was the whoops. Here we go again, baby, right? Parents didn't think they could have any more kids. They've been doing what they've been doing for 10 years, and here I come. So my two older brothers played football, and I was fortunate enough where I didn't have to look too far from the house to find my heroes in a way. And I always wanted to emulate them. I always wanted to be like them. My oldest brother was the first one in the family lineage of my mom's family, my dad's family, to ever go to college. And, you know, my brother followed suit, and I just didn't want to let the name down. I wanted to carry the suit and go to college too. And at that time, my grades weren't going to do it. So I said, let me see if I can take this football serious.
Man,
yeah.
Good, man. I'm kind of curious, man. Out of all schools, how did you land at Liberty University?
That's a good question too. So I started at Pitt, right? I started at Pittsburgh University, went there as a true freshman. I was at that time one of 4 true freshmen to start there. And I transferred after my freshman year due to my father having diabetes and having to get his leg amputated at the time. You know, I was at Pittsburgh. I'm 6 hours away from home. I'm 19 years old. You know, the only thing I really know and understand at the time is family. And, you know, I looked at it as my parents at that time dedicated 19 years of their life and sacrificed 19 years of their life for me. I figured I could dedicate 3 to be closer to home. So I transferred to Liberty because it's a smaller school right beside my house, like 10 minutes. And, you know, they were 1-10 in football. It was real bad off. I got poked at a lot by media saying that, you know, this Jennings kid is kind of throwing away his career. Why is he going to this unknown school? He started at a bigger university. And but I found out the world was round. You know, you do what's right, it'll come back to you. But yeah, it was just all family, just straight family.
That's
crazy too. Like you playing at Pitt, because Tony Dorsett's from Pitt, then Curtis Hall of Famer, and here you are to go to Liberty. So that's crazy, man. Who had more yards as a freshman, Tony, Curtis, or you?
I think Tony might have had that one. I'm pretty sure Tony ended up with that one. Yeah. Tony's a monster, man.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know the combination of him, his line, or what, but good gracious, he was killing it.
He sure was, man. I remember that 99-yard dash in Minnesota. I was like 10 years old. I was on the table. My mom beat no, I won't say what you beat out of me, but yeah, man, my bad.
That's good. Yo, so what would you say was like, man, your biggest game, biggest moment?
Biggest moment, biggest game outside of I played 8 years in the league. I only played in the playoff one time. It's not promised. So I feel that game still very much to this day. Literally, I feel it because I went out there with no shirt on, and it was like -2 degrees. Just a pregame just to actually feel it, you know, so I can never forget it. Maybe it was stupid, but I did. But my biggest game, man, was playing against the Texans in New York. I broke a record. And that was the same. I dedicated that game to my pops before the game and broke a record. So it just meant a lot. It meant a whole lot to me. And for whatever reason, I love playing the Texans. Every time I've ever played the Texans, I set a new PR. So I don't know what it is about playing them. They can't figure out my number personally.
Keep it that way.
Yeah. Yes.
So, Rashad, you mentioned your family a lot, and all in very positive ways and very selfless ways. You have 2 older brothers. Tell us more about your family and how maybe they helped shape who you were, and the very easy decision you made to, sacrifice for your family, your dad. What was it like growing up in that environment?
It was amazing. Like I said, I had 2 older brothers. Loving mom, she's an angel. She's a rock of the family. And my father, our relationship grew so much over time. It wasn't always great. I struggled with the relationship with my pops at a particular time. We'll probably get into that at some point. But growing up, man, my brother, he, both of them, again, older than me, they always made sacrifices for me. They truly believed in me before I knew who I was. They set a great foundation. And a thresh floor for me to actually blossom. And I didn't realize it when I was younger, but as you get older, for me, I'm 35 right now. And so somewhere probably around the age 20, 25, 26, I started thinking, my parents at the age of 19 were married. My middle brother was married at 24. My older brother was married at 28. So now that I'm 35, right? So I look back at life and think right now today, at 35, my brothers were both married with kids. My parents were married with 3 kids. I'm single. Like, I'm thinking about what they were thinking while I'm 35, right? And I can see now vividly the sacrifices they had planned to make to give us a chance. So I'm always embedded to my family because I feel that they've done so much for me, probably more than they realize and know. And so I love creating an avenue of showcasing what they've done.
That's amazing. And I think that you're right. Like, when you have a family, you got to put them first. And that is the part of your prioritization goes to the top, right? And so I think the books, and specifically the If in Life, I think obviously there's a big if in life. No one knows where it's going, but I think you mentioned even in your quote before, you want people to see your work and play as one, because how you carry yourself and, when the spotlight's on, when it's off, should be the same human. And so can you share a little bit more about, one, not only what the book is about and what you're trying to share with the world, but how did you come to that point where you realize I have enough here where I want to write a story, write a book, inspire others, and use it as a platform?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the things when it comes to, there's so many ways to answer that. I'm trying to figure out which angle. But so starting off educationally, I started off in psychology and sociology at Pittsburgh University. I have a strong desire to be a marriage counselor in the latter years of my life. I repeat, in the latter years of my life. And I transferred into Liberty private school. None of my credits transferred, so I had to make a decision. Do I want to stay eligible for football and switch my major, or keep my major and miss out a year? So I switched majors. I did sports management and business. I got a minor in biblical education, and I went back and got my honorary doctorate degree in humanity. And so I say that just to show, like, I'm all over with like this idea of education. And the only reason I never studied philosophy is because everybody said you would never make $1. So, but that's where my heart is, philosophy. So I say that because the If in Life, right, it's a play on words, it's a title in itself, L-I-F-E. There's a big if in life. And so I went through 15 chapters kind of dissecting how pivotal that word is to the success and failures of our life. And it's written in such a way that's going to make a reader really look in the mirror and find their moments and pull it out and place it there and kind of evaluate yourself. But I'm the type of person that I used to go to the library with all my friends all the time in college. Like this is what I do for fun. Like on just a random Tuesday night, calling some friends, hey, meet me at Barnes and Noble real quick. We about to do some stuff. I'm like, what the heck is he doing? But they always show up. So I say, listen, let's just go around the room. What we're going to do is find books, right? We're not going to read them. We're going to grab it by the title. If you like the title, we bring the books, all the books that we like the title. We open it. We read the name of the chapters. From there, we just have a conversation. Whatever the name of the chapter is, we have to, us four, if we're doing it, if the name of the chapter is Overcoming Adversity, we have to sit here and guess what they're talking about throughout the book. And literally, like, I was like, yo, why don't we just create our own books? And so all these things, eventually I said, I want to write my own books to inspire people. And it came about in the perfect timing after doing, Dancing with the Stars.
And you can invite me to Barnes and Nobles anytime if we can find one.
Let's go. We kick it. We kick it. We'll have to do
Amazon.com now.
Yeah, it'll be called Zoom and Noble.
Yeah, for real.
And what about the kids' books? How did the transition go from super philosophical down to engaging kids?
Yeah, I love the kids' book because I have a license to be creative. And it's, for me, I struggled academically. I had a 0.6 GPA at one point in time, right? Fifth string running back, this overweight, chubby kid, asthma. Like I had a lot of things I had to overcome. And it's easier for me to get in touch with my 13-year-old self than it is my 35-year-old self. I'm still a big dork, just stuck in a different body that doesn't seem like that. But I understand the position that I'm in. There's nothing special about me per se. It's the position. And so anytime I get to unmask myself and be a magnifying glass towards things I believe are important, I want to do that. And getting kids to read, it really lights me up because I struggled academically. So I think I put out material that if I was a child, that I would have loved to have read, right? So essentially I'm going back to save myself. And inadvertently, the aftermath is helping tons and tons of children. And it's so fun. Arcade Livingston, he's about 60% of me, right? The curious, inquisitive, the one that's gonna make you think outside the box, that's annoying, but you love them. And the other 40% I have was just the license to create. But I wrote Arcade in such a way that he's always right in every situation. He just gives a perspective. For a quick example, he's taking a test in class, right? And one of the questions were, how many sides to a stop sign? His options are 12, 10, 8, and 7. He quickly and happily puts 10. Long story short, he turns it in. He gets that wrong. So he goes up to the teacher with his big glass on. He said, why did I get this wrong? And the teacher looked at him and said, sweetie, there's only 8 sides to a stop sign. He looked up very frustrated. He said, no, you got the 8 sides and you got the front and the back. That's 10. So a teacher is very difficult to look at a child and say you're wrong when he's explaining how he actually got 10, right? So he's right. He's hard to say you're wrong, but you have to break it down and explain how society has accepted these rules, sweetie. So it's really showing that kids are right a lot of times and creative, but we're trying to confine them, right? And so it shows how to teach a child the proper way. Because it's a quote that I read that I love, that if you judge a fish by how well it can climb a tree, it'll probably think it's stupid. Yep. And so I think schools, judge kids the wrong way a lot of times.
Man, you need to go back with me to my old middle school, man, and advocate for me, man, because my teachers kept telling me I was wrong. I was right all along, man.
Hey, I'm with you, man. I got your back.
I was wrong, man. That's why they kicked me out, bro.
I got
so,
your back.
Serious question. How many sides to the mirror ball trophy?
Yeah, I think they have to create a new word for that one.
No, in all seriousness, How was that experience? And especially coming out of the NFL to the almost polar opposite, a dance floor. Sure, there's things behind the scenes that we didn't see on camera that really were special to you about that experience.
Yeah, Dancing with the Stars really is a major highlight in my life for a lot of different reasons. Oh man, I could talk about it all day, but it's one, I love picking up new arts. I love picking up new crafts. And every off season I would do that. The first off season I learned how to play the guitar. The next off season I picked up archery. The next off season I picked up Olympic style fencing. The next off season I picked up, so every off season literally I picked up a different art. And this last off season, before I retired, I said, well, I was at a friend's house and it was a shindig, it was a whole party, and on TV is a commercial and some people are dancing. And I looked, I was like, yo, they look good out there. And I asked my friend, I said, hey, what are they doing? She said, oh, that's the cha-cha. What the heck is that? She said, oh, that's ballroom dancing. What the heck is that? And so I don't know any of this stuff. I'm foreign, right? The only dancing I know is in the club sweating. And so she said, I said, okay, ballroom dance, I'm gonna learn how to do that. So while I'm training every off season from 8 a.m. to about 1 p.m., and then the rest of the evening I'm off, I find something to do. So after I worked out, I Googled the nearest ballroom studio. I go in there with this big tank top on, strong, sweating, busting the door, and everybody's like in these perfect frame, gentle, soft music, and I look completely lost. And she asked me, she said, can we help you? My tail said, this lets you know how much I didn't know anything about dance. I said, yeah, I'm looking for the cha-cha, like it's a person, right? So she said, the cha-cha is a dance, sweetie. Do you want to learn? I said, yes, ma'am, but do y'all have private classes? Because I'm not sure if I want to do it in front of all these people. And so she signed me up. She said, but we don't have any availability from 2 weeks. 2 weeks from now. I said, no problem. I'll be back in 2 weeks. Sure enough, for 1 week from that day, Dancing with the Stars called. I never made it to the private classes. It was so serendipitous. They actually paid me to go learn. So I was like, this is a God thing. I'm definitely going. Wow. I went, fell in love with the art of dance. Like, it made me so vulnerable. And it's a new language. I wish somebody would have introduced it to me when I was younger. Like as a kid, you hear dance and you think, oh, that's corny, that's weak. But I fell in love with it. And so coming from a world of being known as one of the American gladiators in the NFL, men amongst men, there's only 1,600 people in the world that can play this annually. There's only 32 teams and one starter per position. So I was one, because I was a starter. I was one of 32 individuals on this planet that's playing in American gladiator sports for 8 years, right? And then all of a sudden you come from that masculinity into a ballroom dance. It's very gentle, like polar opposites. And I love it. And, it really taught me so much about myself and how to relate to people and how to unveil some vulnerability spots that I've had. And, I'm still dancing now. It's fun. I'm never going to stop. And I met my partner, Emma, is one of the best people in the world. She's awesome. Met a new work. And the thing just one more thing about dancing that was cool, playing in the NFL, you win a game because you see, you want it, you conquer it. I could go in a away game, me and my team, 53 man, go away, play against in front of hundreds and thousands of people, getting booed, and we still can win. Dancing with the Stars, the only reason you win is because people like you. And so it was cool to let people know who I am outside of a number.
Awesome, man. This is so great. Like, we wanted to talk today about adaptability. And so even, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm inspired, man, to just be that student. You know, we talk about discipleship and learning and growing as a person. You know, I'm sitting in my library with over 1,000 books that I read, and I got, you know, I dropped out of school in the 7th grade. So, you know, adapting is a big thing. And it's funny, like, when this whole coronavirus thing, it was like the novel coronavirus. And I was like, why do you keep saying novel? And I had to kind of look it up, and it was like new, something that didn't exist before. And right now, we all are adjusting. You know, we got to find our rhythm again. And so what is some of the personal secrets you have on adapting?
Yeah, so for myself, man, that's a good point. And even now, you know, the adaptability is huge. Right this second, I got a group chat with some friends, and so y'all know what it is like being in group chats, all kind of crazy stuff, people talking trash, whatever. And so everybody in this particular group chat, you know, work on a regular, some type of traditional 9 to 5, right? And I don't. And so periodically through the text, you know, they'll say, hey, Rashad, man, look, I ain't got time for this. You ain't got a job, I got to go, right? Type of thing. Like it's a joke, right? They act like I don't do nothing. So, but now since this coronavirus, now he'll text me in these arguments, and he'll say, hey, you must be really bored, huh? And now, but nobody's working. We're on the same playing field now. So I text him back. I said, that's funny. You call it boredom. I call it freedom. I said, it's just that you're not used to being an entrepreneur of your own time, which is naked and it's free. And sometimes freedom is scary. You know, if you put if you put somebody on a boat in the middle of the ocean and they can look left, right, up, back, south, north, every direction as far as they can, that's freedom, but there's no structure and guidance on how to get out. And so sometimes that's like scary. And so for me, adaptability, like I've always tried to learn how to adapt. And, you know, the only way to adapt is to have a navigation. And the only reason you need a navigation is when you have a destination. If you have a destination, adaptability is a little bit easier, right? Like you could get lost. It's literally like your GPS. If you have a navigation, if you type in the address of where you're going, your destination, every turn you make a wrong turn is going to re-navigate every time. It's going to try to make
you. Come on.
Yeah, so adaptability comes first and foremost of having a destination.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's good, man.
How about adapting from team to team? I think that's another thing, whether, you know, I feel like a lot of the student athletes who are part of FCA, their families may move around a lot, or they may bump up to varsity or bump down to JV or do summer travel teams. Like, I feel like that's a lot of also adaptability with different coaches and teammates. How is it for you to adapt from 2 colleges and 3 NFL teams?
Yeah, so for that's a good question too. Well, if any college athletes are listening, they should definitely know the biggest difference from college football and the NFL is it's not the speed of the players, it's the speed of the game. Because if you run a 4.4 in college, it's the same 4.4 in the NFL. But in college, if I'm a running back and there was a hole for me to run through and it was open for, let's say it was open for 2 seconds, right, in college. Now in the NFL, it's only open for 0.5 seconds. People aren't faster human beings. They're thinking faster. They're reacting faster. They're predicting faster. Same speed, but they become students of the game and smarter. And so for me, though, to answer the question about adaptability from team to team to team to team, one of the things I try to do, because it's football as a sport, I always find commonality in terminology. Because let's say I'm on one team and the player is dice right, I-45 blue. The next team, it may be orange silver boss. It's the same play, they just call it different things. Hello, hi, like it's the same thing I'm trying to get across. And being a student of the game and understanding language and terminology, like football really is its own language. Dance is its own language. Like it's a lot of communication that goes on. And so depending on, your jurisdiction, they require language. Law has certain language. Science has certain language. Doctors have certain language. The streets have certain language. Biblical references have certain languages. And so finding commonality in these languages will help you adapt quickly as an athlete.
Absolutely. That's a great one. I think across any industry, and especially as you try to every summer in the off season learn something new, if you know how to, shuffle, but then you call it something else in football, like lunge or whatever it might be, like that's important to figure out like that, the synonym in different languages. How about in cities, geographically, or now the lack of being in different cities and being in one compartmentalized space? How have you been adapting, in your environment around you?
Say, I missed the beginning, sorry.
Sorry, I was saying, how did you adapt to different either cities or different, now we have the lack of different cities, right? We're all confined to one space. How do you handle adapting to new environmental places?
Good. So for me, environmental places and stuff, I'm like one of the most easygoing, sorry, my phone let me know it's trying to go dead on me. I'm one of the easiest going like people. All I need is good food. You give me good food, I'll figure everything else out. Like,
New York City, baby, all day.
Sushi on Postmates, let's go.
Yeah.
Hit Restaurant Row, 46th Street. You can go to the hood. That's one of the things in New York City. You could get yourself a little styrofoam container for $4, and you be set, baby. Come on,
be good.
For at least 3 hours, Frank. Then we don't know anymore.
Yeah, but I feel like I adapt well in different environments because usually when I haven't had to, well, I mean, I guess I've been forced to go to different places. Getting picked up by Jacksonville, and then getting picked up by the Oakland Raiders, and then getting picked up by the Giants, and then traveling during the off season for training, and then get picked up for Dancing with the Stars. Like I have to be in different places. But like I said, it really goes for myself. In all of those places, I had a goal in mind, and so I'm driven by that a lot. And this world is big, but yet it's still small and very connected. So I try not to take myself too serious in it, especially when I know I'm not going to be here for too much longer.
Absolutely. I feel like part of adapting really well too is being able to know that you've overcome, you're scared about change if you don't know how you can overcome change, right? If you've never done it before. And I think from what you share with us today, you overcame a lot in the earlier parts of your life, right? Which maybe gave you confidence to be very nimble and malleable to the world around you. And can you share maybe one story or a life lesson that you learned that's made you really good at adapting based on overcoming some area of difficulty or hardship?
Yeah, I could tell you a lot of stories, but for adapting and overcoming adversity, I would say, that's weird. I don't see it as difficult or a task to necessarily, overcome adversity. I focus on doing the work more so than what could be wrong. You know what I mean? So but something that's really inspired me is the relationship truly with my pops. I've always wanted a great relationship with him. And, growing up, he used to drink and smoke all the time heavily. And at one time it puts me in a hospital. I was hospitalized because of my asthma. And I was at the doctor's office. I'm blowing through a peak flow and it only goes a centimeter. And I don't know if anybody ever had an asthma attack, but just imagine being underwater and you can't get to the top. It's very bad. So I'm in the hospital. I'm hooked up to tubes, and I'm recovering. And I remember being in the hospital for like 4 or 5 days. And the doctors came in. My mom and dad was in there. The doctor said, you know, Mr. Jennings, in a polite way, you know, you need to stop smoking in front of your child because it's triggering his asthma. Sure. So we leave. We get out, we go home. I'm to the point where my mom would have to check the ventilators and air ducts and all kind of stuff, right? Like I was that bad off at the time. And my dad started smoking outside. About a week or two later, he trickled back in the house with it. And it was one day he was smoking in this room, and I was downstairs, and the smoke started singing through the vents. I could smell it and start choking up. And so I put a pillow over my face. I go upstairs. I knock on my dad's door. He didn't answer, so I opened it. And he was sitting in the corner, drinking and smoking like he always does. And at that time, I was 13, and I looked at him. I said, hey, Dad, disappointed because he knew where I just came from in the hospital. I said, Dad, can you stop drinking and smoking to be there for me? And he took a puff of his smoke, sip of his drink, part I never forget. And he looked at me. He said, Rashad, what you want to do when you get older? Now, mind you, he's never asked me that. Part of me is excited that I get to tell him. The other part of me realizes he's just being arrogant. And so I still take my chance. I look at him with my big old red rim glasses, my big pot belly, and I say, Dad, I want to play running back in the NFL. Little kid's dream. And he took a puff of his smoke, sip of his drink, and he said, do you think you'll be able to make it to the NFL without drinking and smoking your dang self? Basically, like, who are you to ask me not to drink in my own house? And I looked at him with tears in my eyes, and I said, just to prove you wrong, I'm never going to do it. I'm 35 years old, never drank alcohol a day in my life. I never smoked a day in my life. I made it to the league. And in the process of doing that, him watching his little knucklehead kid prove him wrong, he ended up quitting drinking and smoking himself, which prolonged his life, right? Way longer than everybody and the doctors expected. So we feel like we saved each other's life in that moment. And for me, what I take from it is that, one, when somebody is able to channel energies, right? Like there was a lot of anger. I believe heavily if you're able to channel anger the right way, there's a magnitude in anger that is strong. I'm talking about brutally strong. And so if you can bottle that and put it inside you and let that fuel you in the right directions, adversity seems like a joke.
Man, yo, that's so powerful. RashadJennings.com. If you go on there, you can see the books he's written, the inspiration, the stories, interviews from some of the people at ESPN, and you could check that out, chop that up. That's amazing, man. Like, you know, you sharing that about your pops and how you guys motivated each other. And we about, you know, supporting generations as we minister to coaches. It's like, man, what have you learned, coach, to pass on? And it goes beyond the X's and the O's. Manny, man, close us out, man, with some questions here.
Man, yo, that was a powerful story.
Powerful.
So many young people, like, that grow up in the rough neighborhoods in the city, that have to overcome those kind of not having a father in their life, and just seeing a young guy like yourself, like, yo, just change and just inspire your dad, like, to wake up, man. That's like, it's powerful, bro. I just wanted to ask, man, just considering everything that we've been going through, you know, in the nation in regards to coronavirus, how have you been adjusting to this?
Yeah, I appreciate that. For myself, I've been with my mom this whole time and my little nephew.
My bad.
I know you good. Hey, shout out to
That's
mom.
cool. That's cool.
For all the mamas,
always get a
for
shout.
all
All
the
the
mamas,
moms.
we give it to the for the mamas. And I ain't talking about little mama out there on in the hood. I'm talking about mommy.
Yeah.
No.
That's funny, man. But no, I've been here. I'm in Virginia right now. I'm currently in LA. That's where I'm based at right now, to the TV acting, hosting, commentating, script writing, all the other things. But I'm here in Virginia, and I've been here for 2 months. This is the longest I've been in Virginia consistently since college. And it's been good. I've been able to, and one, I work out all the time in the weight room. I haven't lifted weight in 2 months. Feel weird, right? I don't have my routine of eating. Feel weird. I don't have my own free space. Feels weird. And so, I've been just taking a great opportunity to unplug. I feel like a sophomore in high school for the summertime. Really can't do much. What am I supposed to do? Everything closed. Okay, I'm not old enough to go anywhere. I don't have my car. I don't so it's just that sophomore year in high school, summertime is just a weird place to me. And
Sure.
and I oddly feel like that. And but I've enjoyed, like I said, unplugging and taking a moment to recap my life and where I'm at and evaluate it differently, and appreciate more. And so I've been spending so much quality time with family. I've been able to get a lot more done. I'm oddly still busy as I don't know what. I don't know how I'm so busy when so many things have been canceled. But I found myself fixing things in the garage. I found myself picking up new projects like around the house, and really focusing back on, the end term of life. Like I truly live my life with death on mind, not in a morbid way at all, just as a matter of fact. You know what I'm saying? Like, we all gonna die at some point. Like, I don't know why that's not okay to have a conversation with people about a lot of times. And I say that because I want to leave a legacy. And I want to be the leader of my home from the grave. And the only way to do that is to be purposeful and intentful on this side of the earth. And I truly think a brand of a person is what people say when you're not in the room. Everybody's going to, throw flowers at you right there, but what people say about you when you're not around, I think holds volumes. And I go back to thinking about back in the day, how people was able to do so much. And then I have joking moments of thinking that maybe I see why people back in the day had baby boomers. Ain't nothing to do. Want to start a family? You know what I mean? Like, I'm having fun with this time too, in an unfortunate time. But, we can't, you can't let the morale of a person or a nation be tormented by a couple voices of whether it's media, whether it's leadership we feel either greatly about or ungrateful about. You can't let other people dictate your energy at all. And so it's really just reminded me of so many things that I already believe in. And I want to do a social experiment so bad after this one. Right now, we're doing a social experiment. I don't know if people know it or not. There's a social experiment that is currently going on, and it's called social distancing. That's right. It's an experiment. Let's experiment to see if this works, right? Let's shut down these stores. Let's shut down this. Let's experiment, right? Let's repeat, make this repetitive information on TV, the same fear amongst everybody, because we all know the root of brainwashing is repetition. Not saying we're trying to be brainwashed, but I'm just giving that's what it is, right? So I would love a social experiment to be done, because I think people should be in fear because it'll make them respond. We need to get rid of this virus. But at the same time, when this virus somehow it's not going to leave, But once it calms down from the media, I would love another social experiment, and that to be that on media, mainstream media are not allowed to give opinions. They're not allowed to have commentators. They're not allowed to edit anything. The only thing they can give is full interviews, full content. That's it for a month. And let's see how the nation starts to treat each other. Because I get tired of this side, that side. Y'all, this sound crazy.
Right. Everybody's decorating their truth, you know, and we live. That's where we live. Edited lives, you know. We put out there what we want people to respond to, and that's why we came up with this keeping it 100. You know what I mean?
Keeping it 100.
I appreciate it, man, that you came and kicked it to us. My man Sellers just came in. He just came up in the house. He didn't even knock on the door. Sellers, where you at, man?
I'm right here, man. What's going on, y'all?
Sellers is our God. He made our theme song, man. Keeping it 100. Shout out to COVID, he said.
Yes, sir.
Yo,
Hey.
so Sel, man, talk to us on this adaptability, man. Give us something with some flavor right there for us.
Word, man. Well, first off, man, good to see all y'all, man. This is super dope. Adaptability is, I think, super important in culture, man, just because you never know what the world is going to throw at you. And as believers, the way we respond is a way that we show people Jesus. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I could go on. Do you want? I could just go into my verse right now. I'm already.
That's what we want. I want to go to that verse, bro. Do your thing, bro.
16 right now.
Bet. Y'all gonna have to follow me on this one. Catch this story. My family full of addicts. Some do acrobatics, some do magic, some do mathematics, some get heat and packets, some is ratchet, some live at the club, some live at the basketball court. Some ain't into sports, some prefer the action of the streets. We diverse, we all God's children. Black and white suits, yeah, we all got pilgrims. Air Force Ones, the hood was civilians. Millions of dollars they done stole from the children. What you know about why kings wear crowns, why wings get bound, why seasons change and leaves come down. Grace abounds where faces frown. My place is found amongst the dealers where the cane is found. Shum where the lingo is my single now. Hot summers where the sisters leave their hair leave out. And the block is the spot where we raising our children. Jesus lived in his communion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, man.
Hey.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all, man. Appreciate y'all.
Oh, man, you a blessing, Sellers, man. Well, man, we're going to wrap this thing up, man, and I just feel, look, Manny's kid back there keeping it 100 with no shirt on.
100, baby.
What's up? Man, so we just want to encourage all you guys that's been listening to us this week, man, to keep your head up, and God is the one who's going to give you the wisdom to adapt to whatever situation you're in. And when dramas arise, when trauma arise, man, there's a grace that's sufficient that will rise up in all of us if you put your trust in God, man. And we at the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, we just make ourselves available to serve you. Rashad, yo, so off the charts, man, some of the things you shared. You got a parting shot to encourage everybody through the season, man?
Say it again.
You got a parting shot for us before we bounce?
Oh man, nah, just don't let anybody ever define you. If you do, if you give them room for it, they will, and you'll find yourself trying to keep up with their definition, and before you know it, half your life gone. So make sure you stay true to your destination. I think that was a key that if a lot of people take from anything that was said, is that adaptability is best served when you know your destination.
I love that, man. I love that. Well, man, Sellers, we got love for you, baby. We got love for you, man. Well, thank you for chilling with us one more time. Keep It 100, RashadJennings.com, New York City FCA. We love you. Peace out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.